Welcome to my latest episode of Corner Your Market podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking about the 7 game-changing tactics for dental offices. So these are 7 game-changing digital marketing tactics for dental offices. And I'm doing this series, it's a 3-part series. And I'm doing this series because I've worked with a lot of dental offices over the last 10, 12 years. And there's a lot of confusing information about digital marketing out there. There's also a lot of confusion within the dental industry about what works, what doesn't work. And you might have a question about what works and what doesn't work. And then when you go to find the answer, there's like a million different answers to the same question. So what I'm trying to do here in this 3-part series is answer the basic questions of what are the game-changing tactics that you need to use for your digital marketing so that your dental office can stand above the crowd and get more patients and just become a much stronger practice long term. In the first episode, I'm going to talk about the website, listing management, and reputation management. And then in the second episode, I'm going to talk about SEO and content marketing. And then also email marketing. And then I'm also going to talk about, and then in the third episode, I'm going to talk about social media and paid media. So with that said, let's get started with the 7 game-changing digital marketing tactics for dental offices. Welcome to the latest episode of Corner Your Market. I'm your host, Sailes Kimide. In this podcast, I talk about all things digital marketing, from website design and development to SEO and PPC, as well as paid media marketing and email marketing, as well as social and anything in between. If you're a small business owner, a marketing manager in a company, or an entrepreneur, this podcast is for you. So tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. You'll gain some practical insights, new strategies, tactics, and tools that will help you grow your business. I provide helpful information to business owners like you to help your business. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and share this content. So the first game-changing digital marketing tactic for dental offices is, I wish I could put drum rolls in here, but is your website. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've come across dental websites where it's very poorly organized, the information is not very well presented, and you can tell that the office just has not made the investment that is needed to make that website really stand out. And when I say website, I'm not really talking about just the visual presentation, right? A lot of people think, well, I don't want to spend too much on the website. It doesn't have to be pretty. Look, I know it doesn't have to be pretty. It has to look presentable. The main thing there is it has to be user-friendly, right? So the website has to be user-friendly. It has to be, I prefer a clean, intuitive interface that allows people to find the information that they need. It needs to be also designed for mobile. The more I look at the data on mobile traffic, the more I'm convinced that desktop sites are really should be your you should not even be planning for desktop sites. I mean, you should, but you know what I mean. 75% of online traffic, especially for the younger age group, I think under 25, is mobile. And you know, my daughter who's in that age group, everything she does is on a mobile device. So the website needs to be mobile friendly, right? So being mobile friendly also means that it has to be optimized, you know, for speed. It has to be optimized for just, you know, so that you have your thick thing, you know, your fat finger is able to click buttons properly and things like that. So having it mobile friendly, having it easy to navigate, a clean design, having information readily available and understandable is very, very important. So that's one of the first things on a website that you need to be looking at. The second thing you need to be looking at is quality content. Very important to have, you know, so when the visitor comes, that they have useful information, relevant information, and consistent information on your website that educates them. Now you might think, you know, I mean, if you're in the industry, I mean, I can understand that you feel like some of the stuff that you have is just very common knowledge, but it's not. I mean, most people only think about a dentist, twice a year at the most, right? And if they have something that happens maybe 3 times a year, or maybe 4 times a year, but other than that, they would rather not think about dentistry. I mean, how many people roll their eyes when they say they have to go see the dentist, right? So when they come to your website, it needs to be, especially if they're looking for a new dentist, it has to feel like you really know what you're talking about. Not only that, you have to have really good information on there, like answer their questions, answer their questions about the different types of services you provide all the details about your cleanings, provide all the information about, financing, what are the financing options and things like that. And also kids. I mean, do you treat kids? Because I've worked with dental offices that have told me they don't want to market to kids. They don't want to market to small families. So very important for your website to have quality, reliable content that allows the visitor to really get a good sense of who you are, get a good understanding of the services that you provide, and that way they can really make an informed decision. Another thing that is very important is the fast load times. I think I mentioned it when I was talking about mobile there. But fast load time, 1 second and 45 millisecond is what we're aiming for these days. And so it's very important. In fact, I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and it was a tech podcast, and they were talking about how when Google was starting out, they made the time that it took to get back to you, the response time, a critical measure of their performance. In fact, back in those days, when you did a search, after the search results are presented, they would show you how long it took you to get it, right? 1.12 seconds. Because what they found is the faster the load time, the more searches people were doing. So, and then Facebook copied that too. I mean, at one point, Facebook actually had a website that was a clone of the main website, but it was faster website, and they're trying to test to see, how people behaved when it was faster. So speed is actually not a luxury anymore. It's not like, that you can, compromise on that at all. Speed is very important. So if you can't get your website to under 2 second load time, it's going to be a problem. And there's tools out there. Pingdom is my favorite one, pingdom.com, that does those speed tests for you, and it tells you what the load times are. So anyway, so we talked about, what did we talk about? We talked about user-friendly design, quality content. We talked about fast load time. The other one is call to action. I know free consultation, free evaluation is overused in many ways, but it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, you could kind of think of different call to actions for your business that makes the most sense, but you absolutely need to tell people what to do. Call the office, schedule an appointment, free evaluation, free teeth whitening, whatever it is that is going to make that person pick up the phone and call or send an email or send a text to set up an appointment. You need to have that front and center. I don't like the term above the fold. I don't believe in above the fold, but you need it up high on the website. Let's just say that it needs to be towards the top of the screen, right when people show up, especially on mobile, right up there. Call the office, set up an appointment, whatever it is, right? So the strong call to action. And then security and credibility. Your website cannot have errors. 404 errors, whatever errors, 501 gateway errors, whatever it is that people have, HTTPS errors, site is not secure errors. None of those things can happen. I think that's kind of given, but you do need to have. I have come across sites where people still don't take that very seriously. So you need to definitely do that. So that's just on the website, right? We're talking about the 7 game-changing digital marketing tactics, and we just covered the first one, which is your website. So now and then notice I didn't say too much about design, because design can sometimes be a very taste issue, right? Sometimes I've looked at website designs and I get that it's new and it's fresh and everything like that, but I just don't like the design, right? So you can do the design based on your preference, just on your audience. As long as your website meets these criteria that I just mentioned to you, it shouldn't be a problem. Okay, now the second, game-changing tactic is your location page. The location page gets a little bit interesting because what I mean by location page is the My Google Business page. That's a location page. If you don't have a location page, it's kind of like, if you get arrested, they tell you if you don't have an attorney, the state will provide an attorney for you, right? So it's the same thing here. If you don't have a location page, a lot of times Google, Bing, Apple will create one for you. And there'll be a page out there for your business. And it'll put whatever information they found on the internet onto that and say, yeah, this is who they are. So you need to make sure you own your location page. I think in the year 2024, I would say most businesses know that and that they own their pages. So if you're one of the few practices, or maybe you're starting out and you haven't really paid attention to this, but if you're starting out, you need to make sure that you have your location page claimed. And I would make sure that you have it claimed on Google and Bing. The reason why you want to claim it on Bing is Bing's data is used by other sources. So I went to Apple Maps and I was looking through some of the stuff there, and I think they use Yelp's information, but Bing's, I think, is used in other, I forget exactly where it's used, but it's used in other places as well. So don't ignore that. Google, Bing, Facebook, and Apple are the four that I focus on. You could go to Yelp and some of these other ones and do it as well, but maybe you do need to do that, but it's not a huge priority. Maybe you do that in month 5, month 6, month 7 of your digital marketing, plan. So what are some of the things you need to do when you claim these pages? You need to focus on NAP consistency, name, address, and phone number consistency across all business listings. What I mean by that is not everybody, in one place they'll go and they'll type in their business and the address will be East. And then the next one, it'll just be E. And then the next one, they'll miss it. Or in one, they'll say drive. Another one, they'll spell DR. And then another one, they'll just drop it, right? So those variations become confusing to the search bot, right? I know AI, blah, blah, they're supposed to know, but they don't. So you need to make sure that you have NAP consistency. I've even seen a situation where names are presented differently, right? I used to have a client, Lifetime Dental. Sometimes their name was spelled life space time. Sometimes it was spaced. It was lifetime. Sometimes it was dentistry. Sometimes it was dental. So it was very confusing. So cleaning up your NAP consistency across all of your claim listing is very, very important, and search engines will love it. Well, Google will love it. Make sure that your profiles are complete. Fill out all the box, especially your times, your descriptions. Make sure it's accurate information. If you're closed for holidays, there's ways to kind of indicate that in a lot of those services. So make sure you have that in there. If you're closed Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving, you're closed for MLK Day, you're closed for President's Day, whatever it is, put that in there. You're closed Fridays, put that in there. Make sure that all of your information is really, really accurate. And then another thing that we've started to do for some of our clients is we've started to actually post some very, very curated content from their blogs onto these pages as well. There's a section where you can upload pictures, videos, and also some content on there. So when people are, on the Google My Business page, they can pretty much browse around, get to know you a little bit and things like that. So very important to do that. I mean, for the dental practice, it's not, there's not a whole lot more you can do other than that. But I know for other types of businesses, people are loading in menus. People are for restaurant businesses. It's almost as if you don't even need a website for a restaurant anymore because it could all be done by the Google My Business page. So professional photos and videos and making sure that all of your content is updated and things like that is very, very important, right? And then customer reviews and ratings, we're going to talk about that in a separate section because that's a big enough topic that I'll just put that. It's part of the listings pages, but in terms of how you do it, it's part of a whole different segment that I focus on because it's a different beast in and of itself. So anyway, regular posts and updates, customer reviews and ratings, and then monitoring and engagement. Very important as well, especially when it comes to reviews. You need to respond to those reviews, need to make sure that everything is kind of taken care of quickly and things like that. So So anyway, so that finishes up the second game-changing tactic. The first game-changing tactic was website. The second game-changing tactic is your claimed location pages. And then your third one, at least the final one for this episode, is the review strategy, right? So there's some killer people out there who've done really good getting reviews. Sometimes I'll go to a dental, I'll search for a dentist and I'll look at the reviews. They have 1,300 reviews. Wow, that's a lot of reviews. And that's a good thing that they're doing that, because people need to see reviews. People will expect reviews. People will want to see reviews. And if they don't see reviews, it's almost like, what's wrong with this guy? They don't have a review. I was on that end of the spectrum many years ago. I was speaking at a conference. It was a veterinarian conference, and I gave a pretty good speech, I think, at least. Hey, it's my podcast, right? I can say it's a really good speech. I gave a really good presentation. People wanted to work with me. And then one of the ladies afterwards came up to me and said, I checked you out. I really liked your presentation, but I didn't see any reviews. And I was like, whoa. Or I only had 3 reviews. I was like, whoa, I got to focus on reviews for my own company, man. And so I've been doing that. I'm up to 8 or 9 now. We're getting there. But asking for reviews, I realized that I myself had not asked for reviews. So ask directly for reviews. As your patient is maybe, they can't say yes or no when they're in your chair, right? I don't like it when dentists ask me really elaborate questions when they're working on my mouth, right? So, but after you're done, maybe have the hygienist, or maybe if you're going to see them, talk to the patient, give them a summary of what you did and all that kind of stuff. And then right before they walk out, say, well, thank you very much for the visit. Would you mind going to our website or going to our business page and leaving a review? And 9 out of 10 times, those people that get asked directly by the dentist will leave a review. And then obviously as they check out, the office person has to give them directions on how to do it. Maybe they need to scan a QR code or something like that. So yeah, maybe they need to scan a QR code. Or maybe they need to give it a URL, or whatever the situation is. Or maybe in your situation, you have a patient management system that will send a text reminder, whatever it is that your investment, your infrastructure is in. Going through that process really helps, because people will leave a review if you ask them. And so where do you focus? I know there's all kinds of platforms. There's RevenueWell. There's all these other people that say that they're going to help you get reviews and things like that. But for me, it's like I send people to Google. It's the number 1 search engine in the world. If somebody's going to search for your business, they're searching it on Google, and then they're going to see your review right there, right? So I think it's very important to do it there. It helps with SEO. That's documented in Google's website. Documented information. Reviews help. Period. So get those on Google. You can get some people on Facebook to write reviews. You can go and get some on Yelp, maybe get some on Bing, help with Apple searches and things like that. But at the end of the day, having it on Google should probably be your number one goal. So now you've gotten reviews. I know we all get positive reviews. None of us get negative reviews. So I'm going to skip over that part. No, I'm joking. We get negative reviews too, right? So how do you deal with negative reviews? With negative reviews, I would say don't shy away from it. Leave a response. Offer an opportunity to maybe resolve the issue off-site, off online. Say, hey, Mr. Miss Patient, sorry for your experience. Let's have a conversation. Please call our office. Ask for me, and I'll address your questions. I want to get this resolved, something like that. And then if they do call you, get it resolved. And then once it's resolved, maybe you can ask them to go back and leave either a follow-up or take their review down, or whatever it is that you feel like is a good resolution for it, right? Even if they don't call you back, the fact that you have responded and have attempted to make some kind of a reconciliation is always a good thing. I'm traveling in a couple of weeks with my kids. We're going to a different state. I had to book hotels, and I was reading through the reviews on hotels, and I like to read the negative ones first, just to kind of see what the negative ones are, because I think I'm like most people. I'm pretty savvy, you know. I mean, unless the place is really, really trashed and they're really trying their best to not get it to work, I would think that for the most part, the reviews, I got to take it with a certain grain of salt, you know? And then I read the positive ones, but I also look to see who's responded. Like, does the establishment, does the business take time out of their busy schedule to respond to reviews? And that's important to me because that shows that you're engaged, that you care, you're not just going to blow this off, and that it's important to you, right? So respond and thank people. People appreciate that. That's part of your engagement. That's part of your reputation management. So that's really a good thing. So now the question is, how do you use these reviews, right? So you've invested all this time to get reviews. If you're on a WordPress website, I can't remember if this works on other platforms like Wix or Squarespace or other platforms, but if you are on a WordPress website, there is a WordPress widget, plugin that you can install that basically pulls Google reviews and shows it in sequential order or by whatever category you decide. And then it also has that 5-star, 4.9 star badge that shows up as well. And it's just a powerful way to reinforce people that have come to your website. They might not have seen your Google My Business page because they did a search that maybe didn't result in that showing up, but they've arrived at your website and they're scrolling through and now they see the Google reviews, right? Very powerful. We've done that we do that for all of our clients. It's a very positive way to use your Google reviews. And it really helps with reinforcing that validation that people are looking for in terms of the service that they're seeking from you, right? So yeah, let me see. I don't think there's anything other. I mean, we talked about asking for reviews. We talked about adding reviews to your website. We talked about responding and thanking people for their reviews. I didn't really talk too much about incentivizing because I don't know that offering cash or rewards or anything like that really makes sense in this day and age. They used to do it way back with mixed results, I might add. But incentivizing is not a bad thing. I mean, I know offices will do lotteries, like a drawing. If you leave us a review, your name will be entered into a drawing, things like that. That's pretty good to do. You can do different things to kind of maybe, so yeah. So it depends on how badly you want your reviews. So with that, this is kind of bringing me towards the end of the first episode. In this episode, I talked about, the 3 out of the 7 game-changing digital marketing tactics for your dental office. Talked about website. We talked about, the user-friendly design, talked about quality content, fast load times, strong call to action, security and credibility, talked about being mobile-friendly, and then talked about your claimed location page, getting those claimed on Google, Bing, Apple, the NAP consistency, the complete and accurate business information, as well as professional photos and videos and all that kind of stuff. And then we talked about the review strategy. So with that, this kind of wraps up the first episode. And then we're going to talk about other things in the second episode. So I want to thank you for joining. And with that, I'm just going to say happy marketing to you guys.